The internet search history told the story before the toxicology report did. In the weeks before his wife's death, Dr. James Toliver Craig had been conducting searches related to poisons. The specific compounds he searched for would later be identified in Angela Craig's system during the forensic examination. This is the case of the dentist and the poison. In March of 2023, Angela Craig was 43 years old. She was a mother of 6 children. She died from lethal doses of cyanide and tetrahydrozoline. Her husband, Dr. James Toliver Craig, a 47-year-old Colorado dentist, was charged with first-degree murder. The investigation into Angela Craig's death began immediately after her passing. Law enforcement officers seized digital devices belonging to Dr. Craig. Forensic analysts examined his internet search history. What they found established a pattern of premeditation. Craig had been researching poisons in the weeks before his wife's death. The specific substances he searched for matched the compounds that were later identified in Angela Craig's system. The forensic analysis of the substances found in Angela Craig's system was central to the prosecution's case. Toxicologists identified cyanide and tetrahydrozoline as the compounds that caused her death. The presence of these specific substances, combined with Craig's internet search history and the timeline of his affair, established the pattern of premeditation. The trial brought forward testimony from Dr. Karin Cain, a Texas orthodontist who had been involved in an affair with Dr. Craig. Dr. Cain testified that she met Craig at a dental conference in Las Vegas in February of 2023. At the time, she had just finalized her divorce after 27 years of marriage. The two exchanged more than 4,000 text messages over just 18 days. Dr. Cain testified that Craig told her he loved her 3 days into their relationship. Their texts became increasingly intimate. Craig wrote to her, "I know I can be all right without you, but I don't want to be." Dr. Cain testified that she believed Craig and his wife were separated and close to finalizing their divorce. On February 28th, Craig complained that Angela was upset after spotting a restaurant charge that was, in his words, big enough to cover 2 people. The forensic evidence in this case was extensive. The identification of cyanide and tetrahydrozoline in Angela Craig's system was confirmed through laboratory analysis. Investigators also recovered Craig's internet search history, which showed he had been researching these specific compounds in the weeks before his wife's death. The timeline of events was established through digital evidence. Craig had searched for information about poisons starting in early February. He met Dr. Cain at the dental conference in Las Vegas in mid-February. His relationship with Dr. Cain progressed rapidly through text messages. By late February, Angela Craig had discovered restaurant charges that suggested Craig was spending money on someone else. By early March, Angela Craig was dead. The prosecution argued that Craig had a motive to kill his wife. He was involved in a relationship with Dr. Cain. He had been researching poisons. He had access to the substances that killed his wife. The forensic evidence connected these elements into a pattern. The defense argued that the prosecution's case was circumstantial. They noted that Craig had searched for poisons, but they argued this did not prove he had used them. They also questioned the reliability of some of the forensic evidence. During the trial, expert witnesses testified about the forensic methods used to identify the substances in Angela Craig's system. The toxicology analysis was explained to the jury. The process of identifying cyanide and tetrahydrozoline in biological samples was detailed. The methods used by the forensic laboratory were examined. The jury also heard testimony about Craig's behavior after his wife's death. According to witness statements, Craig had shown a lack of emotion. He had been seen at his dental practice shortly after Angela's death. He had continued his relationship with Dr. Cain. The case drew significant media attention due to the nature of the relationship and the method of death. Cyanide poisoning is relatively rare in homicide cases. Tetrahydrozoline, which is a compound found in eye drops, is also uncommon as a poison. The combination of these 2 substances indicated deliberate administration. The forensic investigation also examined the timeline of Angela Craig's symptoms. The sequence of her decline was documented through medical records. She had become ill over a period of days before her death. Hospital staff had attempted to determine the cause of her illness, but were unable to identify the substances in her system until the autopsy. The autopsy was conducted by a forensic pathologist who identified the presence of cyanide and tetrahydrozoline. The findings were sent to the toxicology laboratory for confirmation. The laboratory analysis confirmed the presence of both substances at lethal levels. Craig's internet search history was recovered through digital forensics. Investigators examined his computer and other devices. They found searches for cyanide poisoning symptoms and tetrahydrozoline poisoning. They also found searches for how to kill someone with poison and poisons that are difficult to detect. The prosecution presented these searches as evidence of premeditation. The timing of the searches, combined with the timing of the affair, suggested that Craig had been planning his wife's death for weeks. Dr. Cain's testimony was important for establishing the timeline of the relationship. She testified that Craig had told her he was separated from his wife. She testified that she had no knowledge of any plan to harm Angela Craig. She stated that she had been unaware of Craig's intentions. The jury deliberated for several days before reaching a verdict. The evidence against Craig included the forensic analysis of the substances in his wife's system, the internet search history, and the testimony of Dr. Cain. The prosecution argued that these pieces of evidence, when considered together, established Craig's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Dr. James Toliver Craig was found guilty of first-degree murder. The judge sentenced him to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The case of the dentist and the poison demonstrated the importance of digital forensics in modern homicide investigations. The internet search history provided a window into Craig's intentions. The forensic analysis of the substances in Angela Craig's system established the cause of death. The combination of these two types of evidence proved sufficient for conviction. The forensic methods used in this case are now part of the standard investigative toolkit for poisoning cases. Digital forensics, toxicology analysis, and autopsy findings are all used to establish the timeline and cause of death. The case also demonstrated the importance of testimony from co-conspirators or witnesses to establish motive. The legal proceedings in this case were closely watched by the media and the public. The courtroom testimony provided a detailed account of the investigation. The forensic experts explained their methods to the jury. The legal process demonstrated the criminal justice system's response to acts of fatal betrayal. For the Craig family, the legal outcome provided some measure of resolution. The children of Angela Craig had lost their mother. The conviction of their father meant that he would be held accountable for his actions. Thank you for watching Psych File. If you found this documentary informative, please like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel for more true crime investigations. We'll see you in the next episode.